Hello and welcome to the 21CW podcast. I'm 21CW Who. Joining me today is current 2SL Lieutenant Colonel Hoo Ha. He's going to be pulling double duty today. He also represents the 21CW ambassadors as well as a member of the public relations team. So Hoo Ha, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Who.
Yeah, glad to have you here. We've had an exciting couple weeks here in the tournament. Starting off with the 2SL besting the IDF, which pushed them ahead and into the championship. They are now the number one seed. Can you talk a little bit about how the upcoming playoff structure will be? Which armies? Obviously, this is going to be the IDF and the GAF playing. Can you talk a little bit about how the playoff structure will play out from here?
Well, basically what's going to happen is the GAF and IDF are playing to see who will play the 2SL in the championship match. So this is basically the loser gets third place in the campaign. The winner has a chance to beat 2SL and eventually win the campaign with that win, or the 2SL can win it and we win the campaign.
Very cool. And I assume for the next battle, the reinforcement rules, everything would just be like kind of a normal battle except with those added implications. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're still going to be reinforcing this weekend. 2SL will be there in full force, just as we have been every single week, and the loser is going to be reinforcing the week following. So just because they get knocked out doesn't mean they don't get to play.
Yeah, cool. That's an important note. So any of you GAF or IDF guys listening, should things not go your way, don't give up and stick around for the next week because there'll still be plenty of 21CW left to play. So moving on a little bit, we've got some other things going on as far as the community. We've got some new polls out. We've got some polls about the number of armies that we'll have next campaign, as well as a poll regarding a proposal for a risk system. That is a system that changes the way that the overall battle map is played, the surrounding sort of story for 21CW. First, can you tell me a little about the polls? Is not something we've seen much in the past. Where's the admin staff coming from with these polls, Hoo Ha?
Well, the admin staff's looking for more of a community voice. You know, they've always been in touch with the community, but this is their true way of saying, hey community, we want your viewpoint on this. Here's some changes we are looking at. Here's some changes that look pretty cool for the tournament up and coming. And they want to see what people have to say about these changes, if they like them, where they want to go, where they want to see 21CW go in the future. Because 21CW is, and always has been, a place that has revolved around the players more than anything else.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see. I know some people, myself included, felt a little bit surprised by the Battlefield 2 throwback campaign, as well as then the draft system, and kind of getting a heads up, kind of getting some community feedback I think is going to be important down the line. Specifically, one of the polls is about the risk system, which you and tournament admin Kaiser had worked on pretty heavily. Can you give me a little bit of background information? What was your inspiration for it, and why did we feel that this kind of a change was even necessary?
Well, there's always been a whole competition side to being an HCO. Being an HCO has been a lot about the round starts and more about round commanding more recently. Where back in the past there used to be a whole strategy to it. You'd always pick what maps you wanted and stuff like that. So this kind of throws back to that whole feature, but brings a whole new aspect. The game Risk has been just a great backbone for this, because it brings a military aspect and it brings a whole competitive aspect back to 21CW.
What, as far as for your average community members, what kind of changes, as far as on battle day or during the week, what kind of changes, if this risk system is accepted, what kind of changes would the average player see?
Well, the day-to-day will still stay the same. We'll still have practices, we'll still pub, and still be a community. But during battle day, it will be more maps, it will be more exciting rounds, I feel, because you can fight up to about 8 rounds, I want to say, 7, 8 rounds on this, on one map, and then that either territory goes back to the defender or the attacker takes there, and then they'll move on to another map to attack. So we're going to be implementing more maps into play, so it'll be less about the map strategy and more about the movement around the board strategy and where you want to go.
One of the other details is the Black Ops side, which incorporates a midweek battle. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Black Ops, or is it Spec Ops?
It's Spec Ops.
Okay, Spec Ops. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Spec Ops battles?
Well, we wanted to implement another battle day. Back in the day, 21CW used to have 2 battle days, Friday and Saturday, but that was because we had 4 divisions. So now we're throwing a midweek battle in. It's a Spec Ops mission. Basically, it's more for the closer, lower numbers. We're going with 16 versus 16 to start it off. That, of course, can dip up to the higher end or come back down. It just matters where we're going with it. It'll be more of the different gameplays. We'll be able to play close quarters, rush. We'll be able to utilize all the maps in the game instead of just the 64v64 conquest. So it will be 3 hours apiece. We'll have a European Spec Ops mission and then the NA Spec Ops mission with some time in between for the HCOs to recover, them to re-advise their strategies. And what the Spec Ops mission wins is you can either get some intel on a map piece that you want to attack, so the territories all have a correlation map and divisions on them, and you can scout out that area with the Spec Ops wins, or you can assassinate an enemy divisions, which are basically rounds, on one of these wins, and it will weaken the territory for your future attack to come.
Interesting. And how is the win decided?
Well, what happens is there's normally going to be 2 rounds on per map. So for rush, it'll be whoever gets the farthest on the MCOM. So say Team A destroys 4 MCOMs and Team B destroys 3 MCOMs. Team A would have won because they destroyed 4 MCOMs on this system. TDM, it will be tickets. You'll play 2 rounds. Whoever has the most added up tickets. So say one team finishes with 75 tickets one round, and then they lose by 80 tickets another round. They just lost the Black Ops or the Spec Ops mission, sorry. So that's just the way it's scored. It's more off the overall combined 2 rounds rather than just the 1 round.
I got you. Okay, so not really a chance for a tie, especially when you're talking about the total number of tickets. I mean, unless everything I guess was rush, but any particular game modes that would not be incorporated, or is really everything on the table, including say tank superiority?
Well, some maps we won't be able to play as they won't really work. Tank superiority is something we will have to test. Of course, we will be testing all these through scrims and just other play around sessions, pubbing that we do, and see how they really play. But with the 16 versus 16, we have more opportunity to have like the tank superiority actually working, because 32 versus 32 tank superiority would just be all over the place. It would just be a cluster of a mess.
So moving on a little bit, we've had some admin changes. Can you tell us a little bit more about the changes to the admin staff?
Well, yes, one of the 2SL members actually moved up to the rank of TA. Ashes, most of the community knows him. He's been here for ever. I think he was around when the dinosaurs actually were here too. So, you know, he's been a very active member in this community. He's supported us through thick and thin. So he's a very good ad in my opinion, and he's very well respected. We're trying to become a more public tournament. We're trying to get our name out in the Battlefield 3 community as a whole, not just the small little niche groups that we have been communicating with. So we're getting our pub server back up and running. It's been up but hasn't really been used lately, so the GAF Colonel Lethalist is taking it upon himself to get a more public image. He's going on with 21CW tags on our server nightly basically, and trying to kickstart our server up so we can get more recruits, and in turn our battles will be more full and it'll be a lot more fun to play 32v32 again.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, especially, you know, there's so many servers that we play on that have these different rule sets, and they're kind of rare as far as I like to play on the servers that don't have instant respawn, as an example, and that have the ability to vote different maps, and or some of those, sometimes the adaptive size servers. And those are some of the changes that we've made to our own server, that you can now vote to the maps, and then, of course, having 21CW and 21CW admins on would kind of cut down on the, you know, smack tards or potential cheaters and things like that. So for those of you that are listening, the 21CW server is a great place to pub, and it doesn't take too many. I mean, you'd be surprised. You get a few people in there, a few of us here playing one night, and it really gets the server kick-started, and all of a sudden you've got a full 64-man server in no time. So that's a great effort, hoo-ha. All right, well, thanks for joining me, hoo-ha. I'm going to leave you guys with last week's highlights.
Oh,
copy that.
come
Go,
on.
go.
Why is Chillum here on this flag?
You hear that, Switch?